Hello there, let's welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, and today we're gonna be talking about Trony, the new character being released tomorrow. So let's go into two things. First of all, her animation, the Idol and the Burst, and then her kit and some pet peeves that she has some initial problems we're already seeing just with the initial release. Now, this is of course pre-analysis as usual. When we get the character, we will do in some more tests, but this is just before official release. That said, the leaked kit that we got was fake. The leaked kit was a lot better than this one, in my opinion. This one makes it a lot harder to justify pulling for her. In my opinion, either skip or one copy. Again, we'll see when she comes out tomorrow. But all that said, let's get started with animation. Before we start, leave a like, subscribe, help me grow the channel. We are live every single day. You can come say hello. So the animation first. Now, even as the fit guy, right? Because I am officially the fit guy in Nikke. I have to say, her idol is pretty good. The most detailed fit we have gotten in the game by far. I'm not in love with the character. I don't really like her. It is a lolly for me at the end of the day, so I will try to get one copy for the collection, and that's about it. Even her burst animation, if we go up right here, right? I don't really like it. Again, this is me. There is something off in there that's not hitting me, okay? That's not making me act up. So when it comes to the animation itself, it's not bad, but this is not worth MLB. By any chance, it's not worth MLB. Summer is probably the next event after this, or maybe one more event in between. Still, do not go for 4 copies of this while we're getting Summer next, right? That's crazy. That's a waste of resources. Unless you are well and can afford it, then of course go for it. Now let's move into the important part, the kit itself. Attacker Sniper Rifle Burst 3 Fire. She's dealing 69.04 of attack as damage. This is pretty standard amongst most of the Attacker B3 snipers. If you go to the other ones, they all have this. Charge time 1 second, 250 full charge damage, and 200% damage when attacking a core. So again, pretty standard numbers when it comes to the base stats. Let's go into the kit itself because this is where the fun begins. First, skill 1, Trony Bomber. Now, this is a debuff that applies when you hit the target with full charge. It does not tell you it's a debuff and that it applies, but it's because, shift up and translations do not go well hand in hand. The team that's translating to English is trash. I'm sorry, but it's bad. It's a bad team. It's a bad team that runs social media. It's a bad team that also translates in-game a lot of the stuff. So that's it, right? Rant aside, this skill is basically a debuff that will make the target get cumulative damage for 5 seconds. Every time you attack, you accumulate 50% of the damage you deal. You can accumulate up to 1500% of the caster's final attack. And when you reach this maximum threshold, right, 15%, 100, you will deal damage, distribute damage to everyone around the target and the target itself, and also extra damage before this ends. There is a couple of with this, however, because it says deal damage to enemies before ending, but it's when you reach the maximum accumulated damage. So this means that on levels where there are no bosses, so on defense stages, levels with just a lot of enemies in general, she is useless until the boss appears. If there is no boss, she's completely useless because she will not be able to reach 1500% of her final attack as a DPS attacker with normal mobs, ever. So skill 1 is not broken, and skill 1 is where most of her damage is coming from. To reach 1500%, she's gonna be shooting for a while, and she's shooting on auto with full charge. So this is even worse, right? So unless we're talking about bosses, she has 0 usage. And on bosses, we'll see how good this skill 1 is for her damage. Now, skill 2 will boost the damage you're doing. When you do 5 full charge attacks, increases her distribute damage by 51%. This means that again, outside of bosses or elite enemies that will tank a lot of damage for you to do this distribute damage, she only deals distribute damage with a skill 1 when you reach max percentage or the maximum threshold. So skill 2 is useless unless you can reach that maximum threshold of 1500%. The league kit was a lot better in my opinion. This kit is like so situational that is not worth pulling for most people, but still, could be worse, I guess. She's not like the worst unit or anything. It's just that it's really hard justifying pulling for her and actually investing in her. So 5 shots with full charge on auto, you usually refer to her thing. She increases distribute damage by 51% for 10 seconds. And then activates when hitting the target also 5 times with full charge, defense down of 9% for 10 seconds. Pretty simple skill. The defense down alone is not worth it at all if we consider that the first part only activates with a skill 1 if you can reach that 1500%. Now, also important with the skill 1 that I forgot to mention, the skill 1 debuff only applies to one target. If there are multiple targets and you apply it to one, The other targets that you shoot will not get this debuff. You can only shoot one target at a time, making it even worse because again, enemies jump around, they move a lot. If there's two elites, she starts shooting one, it disappears for a second, she shoots the other one. Like, you know how Nika is with these things. So on auto, she should work most of the time, but when it comes to levels with multiple enemies, she sucks. She literally sucks. There is no reason to be using her. And then lastly, she has her Mega T Trony activate burst 40 seconds like every B3, affecting herself, increasing her own attack by 100% for 10 seconds. Really good buff. And also increasing accumulated damage ratio of the cumulative damage skill to 62%. The problem with this, even if it's increased by 62% for 10 seconds, which is the whole duration, and she's also increasing her own attack right, by 100%, is that this is only every other rotation. So the problem is her damage going to be coming mostly every time she bursts, so she can properly stack up Trony Bomber and proc it constantly, or are we actually going to be seeing this proc through the whole boss fight enough to justify bringing her? There is a lot of incognitos right now, and also the problem with distribute damage is that there is not a lot of units. So even if we consider Elec, right, our best belly in the game, which makes sense they work together since the event includes both gamer girls, right? Even with distribute damage increase, it's not enough. Because the other distribute damage characters are Dorothy, she has a team already, she's not leaving that team. And outside of Dorothy, we will also have 2B, which she has her own team as well with Mast and whatnot. So it's kind of weird that they keep making these kits that have a clear target in mind, right? Like, for example, shotgun teams, but then you don't release enough units for them to work. So, for example, 2B, it's lacking more supports that can actually boost her max HP. Or when we talk about distribute damage, there is a lack of max HP units that can work with her. Or when we talk about the shotgun meta, there is a lack of shotgun supports that can actually work with the extra pellets because they only release one unit that works with that. So it's like kind of weird that they keep doing this. Over time, I can see this working because yes, you have more units in place, but that's copy at the end of the day. Every time we are like, this is future proof, it's copy because this is the game that releases 2-3 units per month, right? Even if I say future proof, what does that mean? In a year, in 2 years, when we have 600 units, we'll see what the plan is. If it was me, I would wait until we can test how much damage this skill 1 is going to be doing when invested, because that's the other thing. Not a lot of people will be able to pull for her, justify getting multiple copies since it's a DPS, and also fully investing on a DPS that looks mid at best. So, in my opinion, wait until tomorrow, let people test, see how good she is. But for most of you bossos, skip, alright? We're getting summer, the next event. It's not worth pulling for anything else at the moment. Summer is gonna be really big. 4 units from the previous year, 4 new units. Wait for that. That said though, that's gonna be it for the pre-analysis of this kit. Let me know your thoughts on her kit, if you like it or not, if you prefer the leaked version or this one. All that said, that's gonna be it for this one. A short one, just talking a little bit about Trony. Thank you to my patrons for making this content possible. You can join them with the links in the description down below. Good luck with your pool generates, and see you on the next one. 役立たずは楽園から追放するのみ。ブランとノワールのショータイムです。天地万物を切るとはこういうことだ。